Hey, Real Writers, Chris here. Welcome to another journal with me, Sunday afternoons. I am, I pulled out another deck, another new deck. I'm starting to be ridiculous when it comes to this, but I can't help it. I just love discovering new decks. So this is one I've had my eye on for a while. It is the Chakra Wisdom Oracle Guidebook. And well, this is a guidebook, but it's a deck that goes with it, and the cards look like this. Obviously, they have the colors of the chakras. And if you don't know what chakras are, there are 7 energy centers in the body, and there are more than that, but those are the ones that are the most commonly known, and they're easily Googled, so I won't go into them now, but they have meanings and colors and crystals and sounds and words and all different kinds of associations that I'm also not going to go into now because it's so overwhelming. But thank you for joining me. If you're new, I do this every Sunday. Usually I load these in the afternoon and I pull a card and we journal on the meaning of that card, whether it's whatever that card brings up for you or what I read out of the guidebook for the meaning that the creator of the deck has attributed to the card. And if the card sends you off somewhere else, follow that instead, because that's going to be most important and meaningful to you. You can find other videos loaded on this channel, about 6 others for now, and other small short sort of meditation videos that are sights and sounds and colors, and there's a writing exercise that goes with that, and you can also just use them as a meditation if you like, if you just need a moment to disconnect and grab a little bit of peace. We all have those moments. So I also am a freelance book editor, mostly developmental work. I do read and critique work as well. I handle fiction, nonfiction, creative nonfiction, and poetry. I also write and teach playwriting, so I can also do plays, but that's a little less, that's more infrequent. I think I've done a handful of those, but I usually do them when I teach the class. I teach a 10-minute play class, and I've taught a 1-act play writing class as well. But 10-minute playwriting is super fun, and so that's where I usually end up doing my critiquing, is in that class. But I'm happy to help you with your work, and I have some videos on craft, and I talk about craft during these videos as well, and try to share a little bit of what I know. I am considering the idea of doing a podcast maybe, because I actually prefer audio over video, but I don't want to bog myself down with too many obligations, not obligations, but I don't want to promise too many things and not deliver them. So we'll see how that goes. But there are things that I regularly find myself repeating to new clients and repeat clients, and I think it would be helpful to them and to people who aren't my clients as well, to have something to go to for information that I'm regularly repeating, something that they can go to for inspiration and help if they get stuck, or they're in the middle of editing their own manuscript or writing their manuscript and they need some guidance along the way. So we'll see. I'm going to see how I feel about doing that. I think it would be great. I usually share this information on Twitter most of the time when it comes up, and so that's another medium. But Twitter zooms by. Not the way I tweet, but in general, Twitter zooms by too quickly, so it can be hard to absorb. So let's shuffle the deck and see what the card is for today's session. we go. Popped right out. This is a good one, and I think I've talked about it other times. It is balance. Balance. And it is in the indigo or violet. Chakra. And so this book, the chakras are each divided up into 7 cards. 7 cards per chakra in a sort of progression or journey. And so this one is there. She has a lot of things associated with these cards. So in terms of this chakra in particular, the sentence or the meaning of it that she associates is learn to see without sight. Learn to see without sight. So the meaning of this card may indicate a reluctance to change. You may be hesitating because of the past, but that doesn't mean you should be hasty. Weigh all sides before moving forward. This can mean the start of a relationship. Proceed slowly. That may not be true for everyone, just for some people. So that's the general on the card. And the sentence to consider, I must create before the opportunity disappears. That's the belief that's going with this. It doesn't mean that that's what you should do. That's just the belief that goes with this card. So here's the little fable or legend that goes with the card. She writes a little fable for every card. Periwinkle is a small-town theater actor with a big-time talent. An agent arrives in town and is quite impressed with young Periwinkle. She offers him a contract, and he drops everything that once mattered to him to be available for fame. Feeling sure that his big break is coming, he alienates his loved ones. He signs a contract with the agency, but there are no jobs. He is told he must wait for the right one. He learns that waiting for a dream is not as powerful as living a loving reality. And sort of the moral of this is running toward something may chase it away. Be wary of being deceived by your own desires. And here are some key ideas and key words. Chasing illusions, health matters, compulsive behavior, dietary imbalance, being result-oriented, self-neglect, honoring values, assistance, courtesy, and support. So see if any of those words resonate with you. And the personal inquiry is, I take me with me wherever I go. Is there a part of my life that may be out of alignment with who I am? So I'll say that again. I take me with me wherever I go. Is there a part of my life that may be out of alignment with who I am? So you can journal on that idea, but you can also journal on the earlier statement and see if this is a belief that you have. I must create before the opportunity disappears. Is that a belief that you have? Is that something that drives you so that you're always chasing something and not making good decisions about where to put your energy and your time and your effort, and you're believing something about the next step of your dream or an opportunity that doesn't pan out, and you keep not learning the lesson that you need to take more time and you need to really examine what's being offered to make sure you understand it and you understand what is required of you and how it will affect your life. Don't be so absorbed by whatever this thing is that you're chasing that you can't see the forest for the trees. So this card doesn't look very happy. So these are clearly the alienated people the people who Periwinkle alienated, because he let himself become out of balance, rushing forward into what he thought was major success without really understanding what that meant or what it would cost and what it would take. And in some ways that was taking the easy way out, right? Is believing this is it. Here it is. I hardly had to do anything, and here it is. He's taking kind of a shortcut in that respect. So let's take some time and journal on the idea of balance. Another statement here is, we all end up in the same place, so enjoy your journey. And you might take time to consider whether or not whatever you're chasing, whatever has you out of balance, is something that you're chasing out of habit, or because you're competing with others and it's not really what you want. Maybe it used to be what you want, but it's not really what you want anymore. And I feel compelled to pull another card, because this card is, I get it, the balance thing I get, but it just looks so depressing. So I'm going to pull another card and let's see what we get. Hang on. See. Keep dropping them in a giant stack, not a card I can actually pull. I don't know about you, but if an image on a card is very, very off-putting, it's hard for me to consider that card. Okay. Oh, well, this is better. Okay, phew. I mean, it goes hand in hand with this, but it's a much friendlier looking card. So let's move this one over. And here's wisdom, which pertains to the heart chakra. Okay. Wisdom. Let's look at that. So this is, as you might expect, discover the wisdom of the heart. And the wisdom card is the last in the series of 7 for the chakra. And it means balance, harmony, brotherhood, hope, growth, healing, love, peace, and prosperity. And it's about, is your heart in it? Which is just what I just said. Okay, so we're getting a little bit of a reading here. So I just talked about, I didn't literally say these words, is your heart in it, but this is what the green cards mean. And that is, examine whether or not the stream that you've been chasing is really, if your heart is in it, if it's what you really want, or it's just something you've been chasing for so long it's a habit, or you're trying to compete with someone else, or you're trying to prove your worth to yourself and others. That's not coming from a pure place of desire and passion for what you're seeking. So the note here is, this is the earth green, which brings wisdom, patience, and acceptance. Sage is perfect when you need to prove nothing. This card is called Sage as well. Sage is perfect when you need to prove nothing, when you choose simply to be wise. There is an ability here to bring serenity to any situation, and indeed it may be needed. So again, it's about not doing something to prove anything, but because it is truly what you want. So let's see what else is in the wisdom card. One day, a young sagebrush asks his grandfather how to grow old with wisdom. The elder answers, "We must learn from our mistakes. Before you worry about something, ask yourself if it will be important to the future. Enjoy your present form, as we all change with time." Is there some wise counsel that you have sought only to ignore it? Are you trying to do things alone? A solution may come from those more experienced than yourself. Stay in the present moment and do not let your thoughts jump ahead. So I struggle with these little legends that she writes because sometimes they're so odd. And I know she channeled them and I get it and I respect that, but I don't know. It's hard to take seriously that a young sagebrush asked its grandfather. It's like, okay, it seems like a little bit of a stretch there, but they're adorable little, that's an adorable little sagebrush, so I'm willing to overlook it. And this sort of, like I said, feeds into the previous card. You may be so focused on fame and fortune or money, which is fortune, success, whatever that looks like to you, or material possessions, or a degree, or travel, or you have this list of things you want to do and things you want to conquer and things you want to learn, that you're not enjoying the journey. You're not looking around and enjoying the present moment. And so maybe by the time you reach that goal, if you reach it, you may discover it's not really something you wanted anymore. It's a dream that you didn't really want and you didn't really enjoy getting there. And I've experienced that before. I'm sure we all have. And it makes you feel, there are lessons to be learned always, and that means there is no failure in that respect, because the lesson equals growth and maturity and wisdom, in which case you end up learning better balance, working towards something but also appreciating the moment. But it can be very sad to lose that time and to lose that energy because you didn't pay attention to how you were feeling or what you really wanted, and you were letting others into your head and your heart and not just doing what you wanted to do and what you felt. And I think that social media obviously doesn't help with that, because it's other people showing and sharing their best lives, which may or may not be true. And so it makes you feel that you are lame, unsuccessful, not healthy, not beautiful, not rich, not smart, not talented, whatever it is. If you're always comparing yourself to others, you're always going to be chasing the things that are working for them or maybe not working for them, and then you lose whatever your true north is. And so, maybe it's time to pull back here and listen to any advice you've gotten recently or your own inner wisdom. If you have like that higher self, I think we all have that, but if you have a connection to the higher self and you can have sort of a conversation with future you or your higher self who can give you some advice, you can listen to that. And so the personal inquiry here that you can journal on is, do I go with my heart or against it? Am I ready to live in leadership? Okay, I'm not really sure what leadership means here, as that's a new word to introduce. But I'm going to interpret that as being the leader in your own life and striking out on your own path and not following that of others. It may mean that you are traveling a path that others have been on, but you're there because of your own choice, not because you're comparing or competing, etc. So there's a little meditation here, and you can imagine it once we're journaling. You can perhaps imagine this as an entrance to the session. Imagine yourself at a huge campfire. The great servant approaches, and his energy radiates toward you. He speaks to you not with words, but with energy. Allow the wisdom of the message to reach you. When you have received it, the great servant will depart. write down his message. And, the great servant is this idea of higher self, inner wisdom, or you could take it further into a deity, universe, divinity, whatever you wish. So, again, the question, do I go with my heart or against it? I think that's the better question to focus on. But try this campfire meditation and see if it brings up anything for you. And you can pick one or both of these cards, or a blended message of the two, or if something else came up for you as I was reading from the booklet, follow that. Definitely follow that. So let's get started. we've reached 10 or 11 minutes, so as always, keep journaling if you wish. And feel free to share your thoughts in the comments if you like. I ended up journaling on the wisdom card, and the thing that I knew but I hadn't articulated to myself is at this point right now, I have no idea what my heart wants. So I don't know, I can't go against it and I can't go with it because I have no idea what it wants right now. I have been in survival mode with major shifts in my life for the last 2 years. And so it's hard to switch from that into believing in sort of safety and vulnerability, and I can't really tune into the heart because it hasn't felt safe to do so because so many things have been a challenge. But it's getting better, and hopefully that will come eventually. I'd be interested in hearing your thoughts and how these cards spoke or didn't speak to you. I'm finding this deck both engaging or fascinating, but also sometimes off-putting. Don't know why. It might be the artwork. In some cases, like I said, for me, the visual is really important. And even though I can appreciate, for example, the idea of balance, it's a really odd image. So if you think so too, or it sparked something for you, let me know. But things don't always have to be beautiful. Like I said, I think we get too attached to this idea of things being beautiful and inspiring, and we don't. And that keeps us from looking at the things that aren't beautiful and feel ugly or feel uncomfortable or feel scary. And it's important to look at those things as well. So again, thank you for joining me. I will see you next Sunday, and happy writing.